Some big changes ahead of game 2, Lockie, the big one being DCE. Can you talk us through the process overall, when you knew there needed to be some changes and how tough it was to come to those decisions?
Well, I spoke to Billy straight after the game, and I think when you, as a coach, not that I've ever coached, you obviously everything's a bit raw and emotional after the game. You've got thoughts, and those thoughts tend to change a bit after you sort of have a debrief and a few days to think about it. And then spoke again probably a couple of times before we named the team last, what day we named? Monday, this week. And I think from game 1, we never really got into any rhythm. We didn't allow ourselves because we gave away penalties, we dropped a lot of balls. So you probably take that into consideration. But at the same time, if you look back the last 3 games that we've lost, we're struggling to score points. So we need to find a way to change the way we attack, and that's probably the reason, more so than anything, that why we went with Tom. Because I think he's playing with a game where he's threatening the line a bit more with his running game, and Daly, I think, obviously want to focus on the good things he's done for Queensland. It's disappointing for him. It's never fun to make those decisions, but you're doing it in the best interest of the team. And the other guy that comes in is Kurt Capewell and Kurt Mann. So we know what Capewell brings. He brings a hard edge with his defence. He's very reliable, and he'll play long minutes. And then Kurt Mann comes in to sort of replace Tom Dearden on the bench as that utility player.
Do you think there'll be any changes from the bench to the starting 13? Because the stat about Harry Grant, where Harry started half a dozen, 6 games, and haven't. Is there a temptation, do you think, from Billy to put Kurt Mann to start with Kurt?
Well, I think there would be a temptation, but if he does make that decision, it would be late in the piece. You've got, Jeremiah Nanai will bring some punch off the bench. So will Patrick Carrigan. Kurt Mann, obviously, he's there to play that utility role, but I think he'll come on and play.
So this is what many are expecting will actually be the side.
Well, if you look at game 1, so the Blues were dominant early. They didn't score till the 25th minute. And actually, Billy didn't make any changes till after the first try. So then all of a sudden, the Blues were dominating, then they started to score, and then you brought on Liero and all these blokes who were rookies for more. Liero, Lindsay Collins, who hadn't played. So, that start period, that's where they lost it, the first 10 minutes. So, they nearly lost the game in the first 10 minutes, I thought.
Well, you can talk about Dearden and Munster and this and that. If your forwards don't win the battle, and the forwards got smashed, especially your middle forwards. Now, New South Wales middles led by Payne Haas, Isaiah Yeo was outstanding. They just rolled the ruck and they just dominated the middle of the field. I thought the back 5 for New South Wales coming out of trouble was far superior. This is a special New South Wales team. This is a very, very special team.
They've been together for a long time too. Like a lot of the blokes were there when I first started, and you're getting Latrell back. There's only 3 players there, I think, that haven't been part of even the squad when they lost a couple of games, so they know what it's like to lose. So they've been through both experiences, They've been through experience when they missed some of their key players. Obviously last year's win was a great win, that last win up at Suncorp Stadium. A lot of them were together for that. So they've got a really good bond and enough games under their belt to, show a bit of chemistry on the field. So, this is as good as we've had for a long time.
Yeah, I think one thing we learnt from game 1 is you've got to have some punch off the bench. And we used up a lot of gas when we were giving away the ball early. It took 25 minutes to score, but after that 25 minutes, there was a lot of fatigue in our team.
You confident that this team can stop New South Wales?
I'm confident we can play a hell of a lot better, and I think we'll test New South Wales. I reckon our performance, we know we have to win. So I think we'll come with the right attitude. As long as we execute, hopefully that'll be enough.
We've all played with blokes in the pack you were played with Gordon Tallis, who just said, right, get on my back. Who's the bloke in the pack for Queensland this week is just going to say, come with me?
Oh, I think it's Tino. He's not the oldest there in that forward pack, but he's got to start the game, set the tone early for the rest of the forward pack. But then I think that's Paddy Carrigan's role when he comes off the bench. People say he's been dropped to the bench, but he could probably play a more influential role.
So important now, isn't it?
Off the bench.
So important.
What about Cameron Munster? So you played 36 Origins, 22 as captain, and while you were doing all of that, there was a young Cameron Munster looking up to you. You were his idol, and now he gets the chance to captain his state. The guy that, going back even 1 or 2 years ago, we all thought was a larrikin. Maybe this wasn't a role we saw him in, but he's matured and now he has an incredible opportunity. How proud are you of Cameron Munster, and what will he bring to that role?
Well, I'm very proud of him. You know, as you said, a couple of years ago, no one ever thought he would be the Queensland captain, but here he is. He's definitely matured over the years, especially in the last couple. And so it's a congratulations to him to achieve that. I think he's probably the one player that can influence the result, hence the reason giving the captaincy to him means he'll play out of his skin, and I'm sure he'll have a big game. Hopefully that's enough.
There's a couple of games I coached where he just took over.
He won it on his own, didn't he?
He just got
that one
the
when he
ball.
played hung. He was hung over the whole. Remember that one with Tom? He came and his eyes were hanging out.
That was the end of 2020.
He just
He
carved it.
just like, you couldn't do anything. Like, he was just beating 4 and 5 players every time he got the ball. He was doing it in his own end of the field, and his kicking game he's got that cheeky kicking game where if he gets it right, you can't defend it because he kicks it just the most odd times, where you just don't expect it from anywhere on the field. So, it's whether, I suppose, he's done enough this year to take that into the game, that confidence, I suppose, and execution.
Well, I think he's probably playing within himself a bit. I think there's a little bit of conservativeness about his game, but maybe the leadership changes that.
I think it's a masterstroke, an absolute masterstroke. He'll lift. I agree with Lockie. I think he's been playing within himself. He just might need that little bit of a prod just to bring out the old Munster. And when he's on, it's terrifying. And not only captain, more responsibility. He's going to do a lot of the kicking with Tom Dearden at halfback. So the more responsibility, the more pressure, the better players like Munster go. So it's a huge watch for New South Wales.
And part of his job's going to be to unlock Hammersell as well. Like, we never saw Hammer at all. I barely remember seeing him getting tackled or doing anything in the game.
He's gone to the wing.
He's gone to the wing, but like getting him the ball, it's a bit like Latrell for the Blues. Like, he just didn't get the ball. We've got to find a way to get him the ball in half decent positions because they're just dynamic players, and they just rev the team up. But part of his job's going to be not just him running in that; it's about just threatening, getting his players involved.
And what about for the Blues? Mitchell Moses, unfortunately, has been ruled out with a calf injury. In comes Jerome Luai. Devastating for Mitchell Moses and then for the Eels. But the fact that it was such a tight call in the first place anyway, and Jerome has won 4 premierships alongside Nathan Cleary, the Blues probably don't lose a whole heap, really.
Yeah, well, the marriage is reunited, Nathan and Jerome. Think back last year, Jerome in Game 2 at Melbourne unlocked the left side. Then in Game 3, pretty much broke the game open to get Bradman over. He'll have a huge game. He'll get under the skin of the Queenslanders. His side of the field, Tommy Dearden's on. He'll terrorise Tommy Dearden. You know what you're going to get off Jerome.
The other thing he did, when they played together in 21, Jerome, he found a way to just get Latrell involved, constantly just giving the ball. Latrell, I think, made 3 or 4 line breaks from our own end. And I think that's what he'll do. He'll unlock Latrell a bit more and make him more dangerous.
I think for us, Toya was good in Game 1. He did the job, but I agree, if he'd relax one minute on the trail, and if he gets better ball or more ball, then it's another tough assignment for us.